So hello everybody. Will meet Dr. Vijay Shankar here in Amsterdam, and my name is Markus Stegmaier. Dr. Vijay Shankar has written a book called Evolution of Mind, which explains Advaita or non-duality in a very clear understanding. He explains that life is pure light, which reflects itself as light and sound, which are illusory. And this illusory light and sound is a singular movement, and sound appears as words and meanings to the human mind, which reflect the illusion of actions in life. Dr. Vijay Shankar explains that all actions are illusory, and therefore the man could not be the doer, speaker, or thinker. Right so far, Dr. Shankar?
You're the interviewer, go ahead.
Okay.
You're in charge.
Of course. My question for today is now, there are many non-dual teachers available in the world, and I want to make a conversation with you. What is a clear understanding of non-duality, and what only appears as a clear understanding, but it isn't? So my first question is, what is the difference between the clear understanding of non-duality and a not so clear understanding? I have some more questions, of course, but I want to give you the opportunity to answer very as you like it.
You're free to ask me any questions you need, Marcus. So I'll take the first question, okay?
Okay.
Can you rephrase it again for me?
Okay. The question is, what is the difference between a clear understanding of non-duality and between an understanding of non-duality which only appears to be clear, but it isn't?
Now you rephrase it very well. Now, a clear understanding of non-duality would be if what is non-duality is explained in detail as being non-dual. Apart from just saying everything is non-dual, that is not a clear understanding. That's a clear statement. It's a lip service. If you say life is non-dual, you have to explain yourself why it is non-dual, and that which appears dual, why is it non-dual? Then you have a clear understanding of what is non-duality. What's incomplete understanding of non-duality would be knowledge which man has, knowledge of whatever he may have, knowledge in any form. It may be a revered knowledge, it may be academic knowledge, it may be knowledge of daily life, it may be the beliefs of what is daily life. All these constitute knowledge. Having knowledge does not mean it is a complete understanding of non-duality. Therefore, a complete understanding of non-duality includes knowledge which appears real to man and appears dual. Knowledge appears dual to man: physics, chemistry, geography, so on and so forth. That is dual. So, even those knowledge you have to explain clearly why is it non-dual, and then you have a complete understanding of non-duality. Even I'm not talking about words which make up different subjects are illusory, therefore all knowledge is illusory, non-dual. No, that is not a clear explanation of non-duality in knowledge. Every knowledge per se, collectively known as knowledge, should be explained with clarity why knowledge of any type grouped together as knowledge is non-dual. Okay?
Okay.
Is it clear with you, son?
This is clear.
Good.
May I ask
Please,
something?
please,
So,
you're free
yes.
to ask me whatever you want to ask me.
Okay. So, is it not possible that somebody awakens to whatever it is, non-duality or an understanding of life as it is, or man's true nature, and he is just not able to explain, or rather it doesn't happen to him, this explanation. So couldn't it be, is it not possible that somebody has a clear understanding but is not able to express it in words, like for example in your book Evolution of Mind?
If he has got a clear understanding of non-duality and is unable to explain it, how could it be clear to him then? Yeah. Therefore, anyone who has a clear understanding of non-duality, which he does not bring it about, it happens to him. Clarity happens to man. Therefore, though who claims to have a clear understanding of non-duality is unable to explain with clarity why it is non-dual, it only means that a clear understanding has not happened to him. And he cannot bring it about. Nothing wrong with it at all. Is it clear?
That's clear.
Okay.
So some proclaimed enlightened beings say, I've heard it, that nothing needs to be understood because life as it is could not be understood because it's without words, and every word is an illusion or an appearance, and so they say there is nothing to be understood.
Well, if they say it's nothing to be understood, it only suggests that there is something which needs to be understood, but there's no need to understand it. It is just an escape phenomena of the ego, that nothing is to be understood, and it becomes a behavior that nothing needs to be understood because life is an illusion, therefore I am enlightened. The very fact that they claim that they are enlightened proves that they are not. You can never know that you are enlightened. Enlightenment is like love, it can never be known. Enlightenment is like life, it can never be known. Therefore, those who proclaim that they are enlightened and there is nothing to be understood, it is knowledge. It is an umbrella where they can just say, I am enlightened, there is nothing to be understood. That there is nothing to be understood only means they haven't understood what an illusion is. Illusion never means it does not exist. It exists. And if you cannot understand with clarity how it exists, then you are just hiding under an umbrella. The reason is people have not understood with clarity the normal daily words which is spoken through them every day. Even that they don't understand. They take it as a reality. Even the meaning is suggestive of a man being a doer, a speaker or a thinker. A cause and effect is real to man. Everyday man's words, if you observe, Marcus, they haven't understood that clearly. What about other things then? How could man say there's nothing to be understood? What is in daily life itself has not been understood with clarity. That is because apart from the multitude of words which is vocabulary in the mind, man has not understood. There are two basic words which man has not understood clearly. One is illusion, the other one is delusion. Man is not clear what's the difference between these two. Illusion to man means it just does not exist. No, that is not correct. Illusion means it exists, but the manner of its existence is not what it appears to be. That is an illusion. Something exists, but it appears as something else. That is an illusion. For example, a rope may appear like a snake given the right light conditions. Hmm? The rope appearing like a snake is an illusion. Yes, a rope exists, but it appears as something else. That is an illusion. A delusion means primarily it does not exist, but the mentum imagines that it exists. For example, like an oasis in a desert. Given the right conditions, man can imagine a oasis, water, plants, shelter, food. That's a delusion. Children, when they are high temperature, they will imagine many things around. Police coming around and this and that. That's a delusion. That's pure. That's an imagination, a pure imagination. But an illusion is not an imagination. It is real. Man is certain that he sees a snake, even though it's a rope. You understand what I'm saying? But it is not it's not a rope. It is something else. It is pure energy appearing as a rope. Therefore, an illusion and a delusion, man must be very clear about it. Once he is clear, then he will know, oh my goodness, all the things which I see in daily life just cannot be what it is. Therefore, there's so much to be understood. So if a man says there's nothing to be understood, he's deluding himself. He's deceiving himself more than the others. Is it clear now?
Yes,
very good.
That's clear. Some even say they are not enlightened because enlightenment does not exist, and it is false to say I am enlightened. Could you explain it a bit?
Yes. Did you say some say that they are not enlightened, or there's nothing called enlightenment?
Yes, some offer talks or websites about non-duality and enlightenment, but if you ask them, they say no, nobody can say I'm enlightened. You understand? And therefore, if I come now and say, they say an understanding is not necessary because everything is enlightened, and then I ask them, so are you enlightened? They say, no, of course not, because it's the arrogance of the ego to say I'm enlightened. That's a little bit confusing for me.
It's an escape phenomena. The moment anybody says there's nothing to be understood, he's deceiving himself. There are so many things that needs to be understood. Whatever man sees in front of him, the known, which he thinks is real, that needs to be understood whether it is real or not. There are so many things to be understood. Therefore, to say there's nothing to be understood and I cannot know whether I'm enlightened, that is just lip service, and it's deceiving themselves rather than anybody else. You feel sorry for them and compassionate for them. That's all. What else can you do? Their time is not yet there. The most important thing, Marcus, which I would like to make a point. Can I?
Of course.
Yeah. You see, in daily life, man sees many things. He cannot deny that. Life has sophisticated and brought about many things which his eyes can see. Now, the point I would like to make this evening to you is, can the human eye see time? Can it see time? The human eye cannot see time in life. It can see time in a wristwatch or time in a clock on the wall, but not in life. Neither can the eye see a moment in life nor time. Man can see time in a watch or in a clock, but he cannot see the moment in a clock or a watch. If man cannot see time in life, how on earth can he say that whatever he sees is real and there's nothing to be understood? There's a lot to be understood. First and foremost is, how come when there's no time in life and I cannot see time at all, wherever I see I cannot see time. I can only read it, time on a watch or on a clock. And yet, there are so many actions in life, and I say there's nothing to be understood. If you say there's nothing to be understood, it only suggests that you see something, but you're not clear. How come that you can see something that does not need to be understood? How could that something which need not be understood exist when you cannot see time in life? Are you following me?
I'm following, yes.
Yeah, that is the miracle of life. Life is just a moment. And this moment is all that there is, which is so-called time. And this moment has got no duration of time. Even there is, if at all there is a duration in this time, the mind cannot comprehend the duration or recognize such an interval of time. Therefore, a moment is all there is in life which needs to be understood. All that is known in life without the absence of time needs to be understood how it is present in life. Okay? Therefore, to say that nothing needs to be understood is just being a shelter, an escape phenomenon, nothing more than that.
So, if there is no time in life, but only appears to be in the mind, if I understand rightly, then there is no cause and effect in life. And it is therefore not right to say that everything is predestined.
Of course, it's not right to say everything is predestined. Predestined means, again you're talking about cause and effect.
Yes.
There you go. And when you can directly see in life, you cannot see time, where could there be a possibility of a cause and effect? You have to have...
Nowhere, yes.
Exactly. Therefore, that is why those who have realized have casually mentioned from ages ago, life is causeless and effectless. They are spot on. They have said life is beginless and endless. They are spot on. Because there is no cause and effect. There is no time you can see in life. How could there be a beginning and ending? To know that there is a beginning, to register there is an end, you require time. Since life is timeless, it is beginless and endless. Since life is timeless, not because I say so, because it is so. If there is time, you should be able to see time. You are not able to see time. Therefore, time is a thought in the mind, as you rightfully pointed out. Even cause and effects are merely illusory words with meanings in the mind to project a drama of life. A drama of the waking state. The reality of the waking state is a drama, not real. For instance, Marcus, do you remember everything which happened to you last week?
Of course not.
What difference is it from a dream which you had yesterday night? You don't remember a dream, you don't remember what happened to you last week. Forget about last week. You can't even tell me what happened to you in detail last hour, previous hour. You cannot. It's humanly impossible. It's impossible because it does not exist. It's just a drama, a thoughts which fly by your mind, a sophisticated mind of speed. You have plenty of thoughts which come to you in your mind. You do not bring it about. Neither does man bring about any mood which is in his mind or any thought which is in mind. It passes by. Therefore, there's a lot which needs to be understood, Marcus. If anybody says there's nothing to be understood, it is just a deception, that's all. Are you clear?
Understood, yes.
Excellent.
If an understanding happens to the listener now, how do you explain it? It's not a cause and effect phenomena. The listener may think that he has met Dr. Shankar, who has a clear understanding of non-duality. Dr. Shankar explained it to him, and he has understood. Is it not a cause and an effect?
He can't recognize the exact moment when the understanding happened. If he can, then there is cause and effect. If understanding happens to him, good for him. If understanding doesn't happen to him, again, good for him. Understanding is not up to man to bring it about. Understanding happens just as how knowledge happens too. Man should understand. He did not bring knowledge about. Man should realize he cannot bring understanding about.
Okay,
Clear?
clear. So, what is it about in spiritual circles about practicing silence? Could you say something about it? Some say, for example, that it is needed to look at a space between the thoughts and that a subtle reality will reveal itself between it and something like that.
Marcus, I will just say a singular sentence. The capacity of the mind to imagine is unimaginable. Man should step back and realize, hey, neither can I see time, nor can I see a moment in life. Where on earth will I practice? Practice requires time. Where is the time for me to practice if practice is real? It just cannot happen. Practicing silence, looking behind the thoughts and in between the thoughts, so on and so forth, is a behavior which happens to man too. Nothing, he doesn't bring it about. He is convinced that his behavior is real. That's all. You can't help it. But that just because he is convinced it's real, it doesn't mean it's real. You follow?
Yes. So it is not possible to practice silence, but it is perhaps possible that practicing silence happens to them and then something reveals itself. Is this true or is it not true?
How could it be true when you can practice silence? First and foremost, it's the ego which thinks that it can practice. And even practicing silence, the ego doesn't know what is silence to begin with. So how could somebody practice something which doesn't know what it is? At least
So what is silence?
Therefore, the mind, you can never know what is silence. I cannot tell you what is silence. I can only tell you what is not silence. I cannot tell you what is silence. Because to tell you what is silence, a sound will be produced to explain to you what is silence. And that would not be silence at all.
Maybe after the sound has gone.
After the sound has gone is only the absence of sound. That's all, not a presence of silence. It's just the absence of sound. An absence of sound is a thought too, and that is sound enough not to make it silent. How could it be silent when you have the knowledge of, oh, the sound is not there? Just because the sound is not there doesn't mean it is silence. It only means the thought of sound is not there still persists in your mind as a subtle sound. Therefore, silence cannot be practiced, nor can you think, because I practiced silence, you became silent. You're just deceiving yourself. That deceivement too happens in life, not that you bring it about.
Okay.
Man is used to telling his children, hey, children, don't make noise in the house, I need silence. The husband says to his wife or to his children, please, I need silence, please, I need some space, I need some silence. It's the same habituated behavior, even for the spiritualists too. They say if nobody speaks, then there is silence. No, there's not silence. There is still sound. If you hear, you'll hear the sound of the dog barking, you'll hear the sound of the airplane passing by. If you're truly in silence, you won't hear any such sounds at all. Even you'll hear your heart beating or people talking, sniffing, coughing. Some noise, sound is always there. Even you think you're practicing silence. Is it clear?
Yes, it's clear. So I come to the conclusion that not many of those who proclaim to be able to talk about non-duality are really able to talk about it. And how could it be? Because they appear so peaceful, loving and silent, and they explain in their websites that they have a kind of awakening and problems do not appear real to them anymore and whatever.
It's the same thing. If a neighbor visits his neighbor's house, That neighbor will find everything very peaceful within the husband and wife. Their behavior will be such that they are in love and they are very peaceful. They'll hold hands and smile to the neighbor, bring them some coffee, bring them some snacks, and appear as if they are in love and they are peaceful and fine. The moment the visitors leave the house, they'll be squabbling. Give them some time. It is just a behavior, that's all. Just because somebody says that he is peaceful and this and that, you must just observe them 24 hours a day without them seeing you. Then you'll know what it is.
That's not possible, of course.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Yes.
Without picking any names, I will let you know. I know some people in London. I'm talking about very prominent bookshops.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And the so-called proclaimed awakened ones, just because some articles or advertisements is not published about their books, they phone to the bookshop and they scream down the line, telephone line. And they are supposed to be loving people, enlightened people. And the book owners themselves, they came and met me one day and they said, Dr. Shankar, what's this? Yeah, this is what happens, sir. This is behavioral aspects of enlightenment. Enlightenment too is a behavior. Just as, doesn't any boss who goes to his office, does not he behave like a boss? And at home he's not like, doesn't behave as how he behaves in his office. Therefore, yes. It's the same thing, it's the same mind everywhere. One will go to office, it's a spiritual office, he behaves like a spiritual enlightened man. What is wrong? What is wrong with it? There's nothing wrong with it. It is his way of appearing, it's his way of attracting people, it's his way of being attracted by people. He needs that encouragement, he needs that authorization. Yes, I am enlightened. Others believe, they say I am enlightened, therefore I must be. So I must behave this, because that is the knowledge which is present in every man's mind. That an enlightened man is peaceful, is loving, and so on and so forth. So he behaves according to that. Not that he does it by his own will and choice. It happens to him. So that he may understand deep down within himself, this is a deception. This is not who I really am. You follow what I am saying to you?
I follow, yes.
Exactly. So there's nothing wrong with it. It is a form of behavior. This is non-duality, meaning every form of behavior is a wide variety of it, which gets labeled as a spiritual behavior. Nevertheless, it's behavior. Every man who understands what is needed to be understood, if he understands with clarity, clarity happens to him. He may be a man walking down the road. He won't have to behave as a spiritual man or call himself the enlightened. No, not at all. If understanding happens to you, good luck to you. Understanding doesn't happen to you, good luck to you. Can't bring it about.
So it is not, is it now, do I understand right, is it true that even anger could arise after, let's call it understanding or enlightenment? That's what they say sometimes. They say, now, of course I got angry, it's no problem because it's only an illusion, and of course it happens to the spiritual master too, and he understands it as illusory. Does it mean a clear understanding that anger does not arise anymore?
That's again knowledge. Anger will arise, but the same anger will express itself in a different way. The same quantum of energy which appears as anger will express itself in a very different way. Not that it doesn't, it will. Even anger is anger, what you think, it will happen to man too, to an enlightened man. He will shout, he will realize it's necessary so that an understanding may happen to the other. He will raise his voice so that an understanding may happen to the other. Only because of that, not because to prove any cause and effect or to blame anybody or to criticize anybody. His anger expression will have a different quality. His anger expression will be because he needs to share that understanding, not because of anything. He means well. Through anger, he will mean well for the other. Through anger, he doesn't increase his own ego or saying, I am right. No, not that concept at all. His anger will be a different quality, a complete different quality. Quality which will enforce an understanding or to make the understanding happen to a particular individual. Every mind is different in time and space. Let me explain in a different manner to you. See, from earth, vegetables are grown, food crops are grown, flowers are blossomed, fruits are grown, wheat, rice, vegetables, fruits, so on and so forth. But each one has a different flavor, different taste, different appearance. Is it not so?
Yes.
Exactly. Even man comes from earth. Even that element of earth is present in man. Man comes from earth. And every individual will have a mind which is different in quality. You cannot expect a flower, a apple to bloom as an banana the next day. In the same way, you can't tell a man with a particular type of mind, hey, you should change, you should behave this way, you should practice, you should become this, you should become that. It's not possible. Every mind is unique in every individual. And whatever thoughts that mind will meant to happen, it will come to it. He can't do anything about it. Therefore, there's so much to understand in life. Not that there's nothing to be understood. There is so many things to be understood. What has happened present day age is, before, knowledge was restricted to academics, knowledge about physics, chemistry, geography and whatnot, and it kept on sophisticating to other realms of science. And in this process, man began to know a bits and pieces of spirituality. Now he knows so much of spirituality that too has become knowledge to man. You understand? Anyone who says and explains that, hey, I didn't have to understand anything, everything is illusory, and therefore there's nothing called enlightenment, everything is enlightened, that's just knowledge. He's just a professor of spirituality, just as a professor of geography, professor of physics. You go try explaining it to a professor of physics, something about mathematics or something about physics which you do not agree, he won't agree with you. He will never. You understand?
Yes.
I have many conversations with scientists right around the world. They stick to their beliefs, they won't depart from that belief. All their life is invested in it. They can't just let it go and say, hey, no, I'm sorry, I did not understand, now thank you for making it very clear to me. No. They won't, it's an investment. The whole life, 30 years, 24 years, they've invested in it, and to make him understand that it is illusory, it's a blow to the ego. He feels defeated, and the ego never likes to feel defeated. That's why that's why I'm certain that when you're doing encounters, if you have any with people like that who don't like to be asked and questioned, no, they just don't like to be found that they do not know. That's all, nothing else.
Yes, I understand. And next question arises. So the so-called enlightened is sometimes angry, and the quality of anger in a truly enlightened is different, as you have explained. And now, how is it possible for the seeker to find out who is a real spiritual master and who is a fake spiritual master?
Yes, he will know himself, within himself. He will feel a qualitative change in him. Where? In his daily life. The way he speaks to his wife, the way he treats his children, the way he approaches his work, the way his daily life, there will be a qualitative change in him. And when he feels a qualitative change in him, he will know himself whether, hey, now I've sensed something, I need to be here. And that to what? Life will make him to be there. You understand?
Yes.
There you go.
So the seeker can understand it in his daily life. Is it? And it's not possible that it's a deception again.
In his daily life, he will know it within himself. See, conviction, I cannot convince you. Conviction should arise within you. Then that is a conviction of quality. If I convince you, it's not a conviction, it's a belief to you. It will remain as a belief, but it will appear as if it's a conviction. No. Conviction is within you. You will be convinced. You will be convinced, so convinced, just as you are convinced that this is daylight and this is darkness. In such a manner, you will be convinced of a qualitative change within you. What was appearing before usually is the same thing which appears every day, but you do not appear like that or react to it or all the same way as you used to react to it before. Your reaction will change into a response.
Could you explain it a little bit more, the difference between reaction and response in daily life?
Yeah. A reaction usually has a reflection of the past and the present. We think about the past to react to the present because of the consequence of the future. Therefore, a reaction will always have the past, present and future as real realms of time. Whereas when you respond, you just respond to what you heard, what you have spoken. What you have heard, what you have done, or anybody who has done in front of you, you simply respond. You don't reflect about its consequences or what implies to you in the future or tomorrow or yesterday. None of that will be existing to you. You will simply respond. And the response too will be so much, you will be alert that the response happens to you and you don't bring it about. In a reaction, the ego will be standing very strong beside it. I did it. Because I am right. When you're in a response, there will be no notions of you're right or the other one is wrong or the other one is right or you're wrong. No, you simply respond and be alert and aware in life. Now, people normally say, oh, I'm aware of what's happening around me. That is not awareness. That is knowledge of what is happening around you. If you're aware in life, you will be so clear that life is, there's simply a movement in life. Everything is happening in life. But if you say you're aware of everything which is happening in life, this and that, if you identify and you label, you're not aware. You're just having a knowledge of what is happening around you. What is happening around you, if you're aware, you will know only a movement is happening around you. Do you follow?
I follow. So the qualitative change makes me aware, and in the end only I know it. True?
Very true. You will be alert and aware. How can anybody know that you are alert and aware every moment? Because even the moment they don't know what is a moment. No mind can know what is a moment. Only within you, you live the moment, you will become the moment. You are the moment. And in that moment, you will realize within yourself that you are so alert. Alert to the movement of life through the eyes and alert and aware of the auditory illusions to the ear and the mind. And you know, every word doesn't have any meaning. And there's a drama played out. You won't be interested in what others said or what he said yesterday, what he said today, what he will say tomorrow. That you will not be interested in it at all. Understand what I'm saying to you?
Yes.
Yes. When people are interested in knowing what he said today, what he said in the work, what he said this, it only adds on to the drama. You follow? More words gets add on to it.
Yes.
And every word, when the primary word itself is illusion, not real, why would you be interested in what he says or what he says or what others say? You become alert and aware, and it's so glaringly evident to you. It will be to you as to how much that mind has evolved and sophisticated, how much that mind has evolved and sophisticated. You say, what's the point? It's not in their control. This is how much they have evolved, this is how much they have sophisticated by nature. It's not their fault. You begin to admire life when life becomes meaningless to you. When life becomes meaningless to you means that you begin to admire life. Admire life as to how it manifests itself. Admiration will be there. When admiration will be there, there's no place for meaningfulness to be there. Meaningful means is because of a cause and an effect. When you become meaningless means there's no more cause and effect for you. You will simply admire life for what it is. You understand?
And I understand, and yet it appears as a real conversation between you and me.
Exactly, that's the miracle, that's the intelligence of life. To convey as if to the observer a real conversation is happening between you and me. But to me, I know how miraculous this exchange of sound is, and so would you too one day. And this is to make man understand that speaking happens to him. He doesn't speak words, just air comes out with him. If words were real or of substance, they should drop out to the floor and man can pick up his words and go home. Are you following what I'm saying to you?
Yes.
Yes, just air. He can catch it. He can bring it and bring it home and tell his wife, these are the words I spoke today. No, words are just sound, air. You follow? And that causes this miraculous conversation. I told you conversation is for conversation's sake. Conversation does not imply any actuality in the mind or in life, or can bring about an actuality in the mind or in life. You follow?
Yes.
There you go. Marcus, I think I'll have to call it a day. I'm feeling a little tired, but it's been wonderful talking to you. And if possible, we will have few more conversations down the time to come, okay?
Yes, I enjoyed it very much. Thank you, Dr. Shankar.
You're welcome. And you edit and let me know how it looks. I'm sure Gerard will tell me, okay?
Yes, of course.
Love to children and to Yuan too.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, Yuan. Goodbye. Goodbye, Mark.